Destruction. A mechanic that can make or break your game. When it comes to destruction, we all know that,
Of course, something Battlefield does unlike anyone else.
or do they? Does Battlefield really have the best destruction? And how does the final stack up against them? But more importantly, what's the key difference between them? Let's talk about that. Oh my god. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I've been salivating at the mouth to make this video ever since that one guy said that one phrase. DICE, you couldn't have just made a good game, made your money, and moved on with your lives. Instead, you had to go out and call out the underdog. Well, that got my mind thinking, and I feel like it put that comparison inside everybody else's head. But first and foremost, I need to get something out of the way. This is definitely not a harping on Battlefield / DICE, nor is it a down with AAA type video. Because in reality, as you've probably heard from every other streamer who's played this game, the Battlefield 6 beta was an absolute blast to play. In fact, I had such a good time playing the game that it may or may not have affected my upload schedule, because the time that I did have, I chose to play the beta instead.
Inhuman reaction!
Holy crap, I lived. Oh, tank! If DICE can make a game that entices me, a dude who doesn't really like all-out large-scale warfare type game modes, then you know they have a wide audience appeal game that at its core is fundamentally sound. What the no matter what mode or style you want to play. The thing that I noticed that kept me coming back to this game is that it offered a wide variety of ways to play the game. When I got tired of fragging out and dropping 100 bombs like I'm Shroud in his prime, I sat back and started sniping. Oh, I got a double kill. Holy frick, that's a collab. When I got tired of missing every single one of my shots, I hopped in my whip and started blasting dudes in the tank. I just noticed, like, as I'm recording that came out kind of weird, but like, when I got sick of the tank, dude, I hopped in the jet and my god, that thing was fun. Once you master the jet, it is so fun to play. That being said, Battlefield 6 is definitely not without its flaws, but that's not something I'm going to cover in this video. Feel free to check out Westy or the Tactical Brit or Jack Frags, one of the British trios that have covered this topic way better than I can. Speaking of which, YouTube keeps rubbing it in my face that 97% of y'all are not subscribed yet, so do me a huge favor, drop a like, hit the noti bell, and while you're down there, drop a comment, let me know which game has the best destruction, Battlefield or the Finals. Hell, it doesn't even need to be either one of the two. There might be a game out there that I am not aware of that has even better destruction. When it comes to destruction in video games, Battlefield is the one that comes to mind for the majority of people. But after spending a lot of time in both Battlefield and the Finals, I feel like the Finals has better destruction. And I say that with an asterisk because there is a key difference in the way destruction is handled in both of these games. So when I say that the Finals has better destruction, that's not really giving it justice, because it's less about which is better and more about how that destruction mechanic is used to provide the player an experience. And that is what I want you to keep in mind going forward, because both games use destruction in a different way. For Battlefield, at its core, even all the way back in its roots, destruction has always been used as a means of removing cover from your opponent. It's funny, I even remember way back when they announced Bad Company 2 that they said something about, like, if your opponent is behind cover, just break it down. But in the case for the Finals, Embark, when they set out to make this game, they chose to take this a step further. Rather than just being a means of removing cover, I'm gonna test something. I'm only gonna shoot this side of the building and see how much destruction that does to the rest of the map. Or sorry, the building. So I just broke this part down and it went straight up as if like a meteor just fell straight down on it. It looks cool, but if I shoot it one more time, or the building should fall down. No. Okay, it doesn't. What if I shoot it one more time? If I damage the floor level with an RPG, that escalates, that cascades up. So if I shoot this, technically it should go all the way up, because like I'm taking out this support for the building, right? It cascades up. Yeah, okay. Damn, that's interesting. What if destruction was physics-based. What if walls and buildings not only broke, but broke free? And then, what if those pieces and chunks could then break other walls and other buildings? This freaking loser. Swear to God. Whereas in Battlefield, it's not really physics based. It's more of an on-off toggle. Is wall broken or is wall not broken? And if it does get hit by something that's gonna break it, play a fancy transition in between. You can see that with some of the footage that I'm playing back in the background. I really had to think about this one, how I can put it into words so that people actually understand. And I'm gonna stroke my own ego here for a little bit. I feel like I did an actually good job on that one. You can notice that in Battlefield, whenever a wall gets hit by something that can break it like an RPG, it basically just transitions into a broken version of itself, and it plays a bunch of particle effects in the area. Smoke or broken walls or tiles or this and that, and then all of a sudden it's now a broken chunk in the wall. Of course, it's a little bit more nuanced than that, and a little cool detail that I actually found in the game is the textures have different layers of textures in between them that are showcased when the wall breaks apart. You can see here in the broken wall that there's like, when the building was originally built, there was like red bricks that the cheap construction company chose to build the wall with, and then later 10 years down the line, some mayor came up and said, hey, I don't like the way the red bricks look, let's add some concrete on top of those. You can see that here. That is a really cool freaking detail. What about a tree? Can I bring out a tree? Now what about an RPG in the same spot? Apparently trees are more structurally sound than an entire building in Battlefield 6 somehow. That's one solid trunk. Even when the rubble falls apart and becomes kind of like a ramp that you can take to get to the second floor of the building, that's really nothing more than an on-off switch with a fancy transition in between. It's not physics-based like the Finals has, but it doesn't have to be, because the way Battlefield and DICE are choosing to use destruction to provide an experience for the player is a little bit more controlled, and to keep the flow of the maps and the gameplay controllable and consistent. Something I want to test is that I know there's a floor below this, and it looks like wood, so I should be able to break it down, right? What about like this? What? Can I break this flooring down? Dude, I can't. It's being held by nothing. It's freaking playing cards, bro. Really? Are you okay, that's just... Okay, here's another example. From what I've seen, the buildings, for example, the destruction in this game is not dynamic destruction. It sets off like a callback function, and it just like kicks off an animation. So this area of the map should transition into rubble in this area, and the entire building up top transitions from one asset to another asset. It just breaks down to rubble, and none of the building parts actually fall down. It's just an animation. Watch. I didn't mean to kill myself, but that's key. That's the approach DICE wants to take with this, and you can see it with the way that breakaway points are designed in the buildings. There are some buildings that you can break, and they always have the same exact breakaway points every single time, like the buildings on Egypt. Every single one of these buildings can be broken in the exact same way, and nothing more, nothing less. Even if there's a thin wall off to the side that looks like it could be broken, the building is not scripted to be broken down that way, and that is to provide controllable, consistent gameplay flow. That's interesting, the way they designed it, that the scripted breakaway points, it breaks down, but it still leaves the path for people to walk through, to walk across. So I can't break this area down. It's hella annoying sometimes and can get in the way and be unintuitive. Like a lot of times that happened in the Brooklyn map that was on Weekend 2. There are areas that you would think you could just break through. In fact, there's a part of the building like you're seeing here that has an entryway, but only one way in, one way out. So it's kind of just like a pointless little corridor that you can't break through. Even though the opposite side of the building is like an alleyway. You would think you could break through that little door, but no, it's just completely indestructible. I wonder if I can bring down the bridge. This looks like it should be able to break, right? Okay, good, they can. What about this? Really? But that's kind of the point of a beta test, so whatever. The destruction in Battlefield 6 not only is not physics-based, it's also scripted as hell. And again, that's not a bad thing. That is how DICE is choosing to control the game flow of each map and to keep the games and maps consistent, preventing them from unleashing into complete chaos, which is where the finals then falls into. In the finals, not only is the destruction not scripted, it's completely physics-based, where different chunks, parts, and different parts of the map have different weights to them, like the crane that you can break down, and if it's stretched across 2 buildings without any support underneath the crane, then that middle part can crack and snap in half, just like in real life. Or if you put on your engineer hat and start chunking away at a building's foundation, if you hit it in the right spots, you can bring down a building, or at least parts of that building, just by taking out the structural components to it. The entire map can be leveled to a pancake. Now, I have somewhat of a life, so I haven't even tried to do that, but there are people who have, and it's glorious. On one of the maps, Seoul, there is an area on the map that only has 2 lanes of access. One of them is indestructible, because, you know, you always gotta have that, and the other is a bridge where you can completely destroy and break and prevent anybody from crossing, unless they have a goo gun and a lot of patience. The design philosophy in the finals and how they choose to use the destruction gameplay mechanic to further a player's experience is complete and utter chaos. Instead of a means of removing cover from an opponent, it's more of an ability or specialization that every class has access to and can use to push a specific point, or to take a cash out, or to steal a vault. By the way, after recording this, the finals released an update where in the middle of the game, there's this huge shark that looks like Sid from Ice Age if he's missing 1 too many chromosomes, spawns in the middle of the game and starts hurling these rocks at you. Whoa. Hey, yo. He tosses chunks. Wait, does that do damage? That also can end up breaking parts of the map. It looks really cool. It's kind of annoying when you're trying to steal the cash out, but it's awesome, and I really couldn't fit it anywhere else in the video, but yeah. Hey, Ned! Hey! I wonder if I can tickle him and piss him off. He's kind of just standing there, menacingly. Oh, he does toss stuff at you. Oh, it's coming. Oh my god, it actually does damage. Holy frick, it actually does do damage. It actually moved the cash out. God damn, oh my god. Oh, here comes the rocks. Oh my god. Oh my god. It leveled the entire freaking building. Look at this. Damn. Go Ned.